Hi friends, how's it going? My name's Miriam and I'm a poet and I'm sitting in an armchair, hence the armchair poet. Now for those of you who have been on this journey with me for a little while, you'll have noticed that I've taken a few months off posting, and that's just been because work plus lockdowns plus the 2 C's, that is COVID and supporting a family member through cancer, take up time and energy, and I have wanted to focus on those things. But I recently moved into a new room, which I won't show you now because it's a mess, but I'll do a bit of a room viewing later. And I set up my armchair and I set up this beautiful piece of artwork that a friend drew for me, thank you Jacqueline Gadd, which is an armchair because I'm the armchair poet. And with all of that I thought, oh, maybe it's time to do a new poetry video. So here we are. And I wanted to share 3 pieces with you today, actually. 2 of my own, and then 1 by a new author who I'm reading at the moment. These are 2 of a series of 3 poems that I wrote a while ago when someone commissioned me to write a series on slavery, modern day slavery. And I was traveling around America, and I remember being on the phone to a friend and saying, I don't know where to start with these poems. Usually I write from my own experience and I have nothing that compares to the experience of trafficking or modern day slavery. And he said, Miriam, you're about to go to Vegas, to Las Vegas. It's the most sort of the center of modern day slavery. Look around you. And he wasn't wrong. So I started to look around me, I started to do some research. And I came across stories both set in America and set in Australia. And these poems came from those experiences. So the first piece is called Othering the Other, a logical conclusion. And it goes like this. I stood on a street corner in New Orleans, and the sign said, here, the infamous slave pen held children, women, men, and that was all that was left of that. But it's not. Slavery, it leaves a mark on the soul of a nation. Like a red branding iron burns, scarring the history of this land so badly its skin is pulled off center and it can't stand up straight anymore. And we see the impact from the slavery of old, but I stood on a street corner in Las Vegas and watched the woman dancing on the bar in her panties and bra, and it's clear to me that the branding iron is still being wielded. Slavery. We don't like to look at it, do we? It's so far away from here. What's it got to do with my life? But it's not actually that far away or that distant from you or I. From our own hearts, it is the logical, cruel, horrible conclusion of the common human delusion to consider ourselves more human than the other. And it gets easier the further away they are in geography, economy, sociology. It's so easy to dehumanize the distant. All it takes is a few small words. This is how it begins. They don't love their children like we do. They don't love their children like we do. They don't love their children like we do. All it takes is a few small words. This is how it begins. They don't love their children like we do. They don't love like we do. They can't love like we do. They can't love. They are less than human. So what does it matter if they are enslaved? What does it matter if we enslave them? What does it matter? Does this bother you? All it takes is a few small words. This is how it begins. 8 little words that we use to wash our hands of others, to make others less than human, enslaved. So that's the first of 3 pieces. And those are direct quotes that actually people have used about people on opposite sides of the war in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, that they've used around refugees in Australia, and that they've used around slaves in history added modern days as well. The second piece is called choice. And it goes like this. Oh, lass. Was it your choice? When your stepdad abused you and you ran away from home, was that really a choice? When poverty left you standing at the LA bus stop alone and a rich-looking young man came up and smiled kindly at you, and then he invited you home, was that really a choice? When he promised to take care of you, to love you, to marry you someday, if you just went with him that day, was that a choice? When he was kind, gentle, sweet, right up till the moment when suddenly he wasn't and was forcing you to turn tricks on the street. Was that a choice? I don't know if it counts as a choice when there are no other options. When your family has already put you basically in chains, when the world has, before you even realized, sold you as a slave. And you? Young lady in a clean white hospital gown with no English and wide, nervous eyes. Was this a choice? You turned up a consenting adult with a plane ticket in hand and your second kidney already purchased in advance by the lady who lives in Australia. Was that really a choice? When you lived in a poor village with no job prospects and your family needed the money, was it really a choice? When the phone call came, I know someone who knows someone who knows someone who could give you lots of money. All they need in return is one little kidney. Was that really a choice? When she offered to pay for flights, vacation, surgery in a distant nation, does it count as a choice when the creeping tendrils of poverty have already put you in chains? When the world has, before you even realized it, sold you as a slave? And what of you, strong young men, training as boxers, searching for your one big break? Was that really a choice when up came the recruiter promising glory and fame and you won't believe how much money you'll make? I'll house you, feed you and train you too, and I'll book all your flights for you. Was that really a choice for you? Welcome to your new life. This is where you'll stay now. If you'll just give me your passport, it's just safer that way. But you'll need to work here too, clean my house, do the dishes, here are some scraps to eat. You owe me for all that I've done for you. I'll take your wages and winnings to pay back the debt you owe. And when will we be square, you asked? Just a few months and a few months more. Paying off debt is slow. Now you say you want to leave. Oh, well, that's too bad for you, friend. Remember those passports you gave to me? I've got all your IDs. I don't know if it counts as a choice when your dream of a career and a predatory recruiter has put you in chains, when the world, before you even realized, has sold you as a slave. And you, lonely young girl with a sweet boy who smiled at you, courted you, made love to you, then took you to a party or two. You've already done it with me, and we need the cash. Do it for us, just this once. He'll pay to take you out back. Oh, well, now you've done it once. How about a couple times more? Here's at another party. Now there's 3 or 4. See, now I'm your pimp, and you've become my whore. Was that a choice? Really? The first time? Or the 4th? I don't know if it counts as a choice when the grooming of your lonely heart's voice has put you in chains, when the world, before you even realized, has sold you as a slave. And what of you, ladies, who work to the bone just to buy food, who slave 16-hour days for tiny little bits of pay, sewing hundreds of branded white t-shirts for the rich white lady so far away? Was that a choice? For those who stay in bad situations, saying yes to bad conditions, who take the bad opportunities because what else is there to do? I don't know if it counts as a choice when the only jobs available are the rip-off undesirable ones, when the web of poverty and the rich West's demand has already got you in chains, when the world, and you know this, the world has sold you as a slave. See, slavery that subtle, insidious business is grown by the big choices of evil people and the small choices of you and I people and the disempowered choices of vulnerable people from all walks of life. So now that you know, what choice will you make? The end. I wrote that one in particular thinking about what are the elements that go into trafficking or slavery. It's not always someone being snatched off the street or sold by their family, although those are horrible and real experiences, but also sometimes it's a choice but without any alternatives, and in which case is that really a choice? Has the world locked people into slavery? If you want to get involved with this cause, the Ping Pongathon, I'll put the link below. As I said, they're a really good program supporting anti-traffickers in Southeast Asia, so I can recommend getting involved with them. I'd like to share one final piece with you by this author, Christian Wiman, or Wyman, called Hammer is the Prayer, Selected Poems. And this is the titular poem for that book, and I've just been really enjoying dipping in and out of this text, and I hope you like this too. So it's called Hammer is the Prayer. There is no consolation in the thought of God, he said, slamming another nail in another house another havoc had half taken. Grace is not consciousness, nor is it beyond. To hell with remembrance, to hell with heaven. Hammer is the prayer of the poor and the dying. And as wind in some lordless random comes to rest, and all the disquieted dust within, peace came to the hinterlands of our minds, too remote to know, but peace nonetheless. Lots to sit with in that poem, lots of things to explore and ask questions of. I hope you're doing okay. I know the lockdown is really shaking people. I know people are deeply weary. And I know that's a hard season to be living with. But I think of you often. And remember, in hard seasons and in good, and this is something I need to remember too, that in all things you are fully seen and fully known and fully loved. I will chat to you soon.